Hello, everybody. How are we all doing? I'm hoping very, very well. Because, I mean, it's a good time. We're having a good time. Leeds fans might not always be the most sane and the most rational, and we know that that's the case, but at the minute, things are good. We are winning matches, and today in Daniel Farke's press conference, he said a fair little bit that made me think we are very, very close to signing our first player of the winter window, which is fantastic. I'm going to make the music go away now. There we go. I just like it as an intro. It sets the vibe, you know? But what we're going to do is we're going to run through the story that I've got prepared. So it's about a potential left-back signing that we are eyeing up. Then I'm going to just hop through the comments from time to time. And I've got a little bit of a plan for the end of the stream, but I'll get to that in a little bit more detail later on. Basically, I'm going to challenge you guys to do a thing, and that will make me do a thing. And if you manage to do the thing, fantastic. Well done. Everyone wins. If you don't, then I'll be really, really sad. But before we do that, I'll look into the comments. Sitting here waiting for signing show. I mean, honestly, same. But the press conference a little bit early with Daniel Farke said to me that we're going to head in that direction the next few days. Specifically, his words said that. When he said a few positions we'll take a look at if there is someone who could improve our squad, that's exactly what we'll do in the coming days. Lots of details about that I really like, especially the targeting if they are someone that improves our squad aspects, because we don't want someone in who is just going to sort of Connor Roberts it like we saw last season. Instead, we want someone to come in and say, I am worthy of a starting berth here. And then they can claim it and push their way forwards. And that would be absolutely beautiful. Like, imagine a number 9 that goes, no, this conversation that is going on between Joel Piroe and Mateo Joseph ends now, which is good. A player of that standard would be absolutely fantastic. Also, yeah, like and subscribe. That's always massively appreciated. Doing pretty good, Kevin. Emi Buendia feels like an absolute no to me for a few reasons, including the fact that he started in the Champions League the other day, because I feel like they wouldn't start him in the Champions League, you know. What got me was if they improved our squad. If. It was a pretty big if. But that's because at the moment we're in a position where we are comfortably the best squad in the Championship. I think if you look at any player in our first 11, and this is like our fully fit first 11, and you look around the league, there are very few squads that would turn down any of our players. I think the one player that you could consider as the big weakness is Meslier. But even then, his passing stuff is okay, and I don't think he does enough bad to make sure that we don't win the league here. Yeah, like Aronson is picked by the vast majority of teams in the Championship. I said the other day that I think we've got 4 of the best 5 wingers in this division. The number 9 conversation, yeah, is open for discussion, but I don't think Piroe has an issue getting into any side in this league. Same for our midfielders. Fullbacks are ridiculously good, and same for the centre-backs. Like, I wouldn't swap out anyone that we've got for anyone in the Championship at the minute, and that means that the players that we are looking at need to be a step above that, which is quite hard to recruit, especially when we're on a budget, and they need to be the right kind of person. Yeah, it's complex. 10 and a centre-back, I'll be happy, and I completely get that. Like, those are positions that we rather need at the minute. I'm not even sure if I'm leaning centre-back as much as someone that goes all the way across the line, just because that's a little bit more certainty everywhere, but that'd be lovely. And Pascal back early was the main talking point, and I really, really enjoyed that. But that's not the main talking point of this stream. Before I get into the main talking point of this stream, I'm going to address Andy's comment. Am I going to go to the Burnley game on the train? No. Because it is a Monday night. I don't even know if I'll be able to watch the majority of the game because I play football on Monday nights. Looking at the coming weeks, let's have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Of the next 5 weeks, we have 3 matches on Monday nights, which means that I think for a couple of those, I'm going to see if I can not do 7-a-side. But beyond that, it's going to be a case of I'm going to have to miss one of the Monday matches. And I've got to decide which. I think maybe Sunderland at home, just because home matches feel a little bit more cosy to me. But on topic, on to the left back, because Leeds are eyeing a potential left back signing. Now, this one comes from Sky Sports Germany, and it seems to be a fairly secure source that has their stuff together, because when it comes from one of the Skies, they're one of the organizations that don't like losing good relationships with the people that they have their relationships with, because that's where they get the stories from. And if you break off any of those relationships, you don't get the stories anymore. So Sky Sports Germany tend to be pretty reliable, especially when it comes to German transfer news. And there is some Germany involved in this transfer story, but we'll get into that in a couple of minutes as well. His name is Daniel Svensson, and he currently plays at Nordsjælland in Denmark. Now, this is where I've got to address a little something that has been mentioned in the chat. Specifically, it has been mentioned in the chat by Danny, who said the last Danish player wasn't a good fullback. Correct. Fun little fact, though, Daniel Svensson may play in Denmark, but he is himself a Swedish footballer. Which gets us around that entire problem. There we go. Up the Swedes. He is only 22 years of age, which means that he's got a hell of a lot of space to grow, but being 22 years old typically means that you're not experienced and there are potential risks in that direction, and that's where people get a bit spooked. Somehow at the age of 22, this kid has played 153 senior games of football, which is a stupid amount for a young player. And I mean stupid in both the good and the bad way, because in the good way, they're really experienced and are likely to be a better footballer. In the bad way, overworking young players leads to various bits and bobs going wrong. I doubt this will be the case here, but it's worthy of sort of looking into. He is a very, very flexible player, and I'll get into that in a little bit more detail later on when I talk a little bit about how he's played in the past. But in general, he can play at left back and primarily does play at left back this season. Has played in central midfield for Nordsjælland, a little bit on the left wing / left midfield. Like, he's not the most bombing on kind of winger, but he's played in that left midfield role in a sort of more traditional 4-4-2-y way, I guess. And weirdly, I looked a little bit deeper into it. Last season, he played a little bit at centre back as well. I know, it's great. And when he's in central midfield, he can be more of a defensive midfielder. So it's a question of, does this basically do a Stuart Dallas? If he does everything to a pretty damn good standard. That would be my hope, especially since we actually somewhat need a left back. But we got to get into the story itself rather than just discussing the player, because if we're just discussing the player, there is a chance that we get all sort of flustered up and we go, we're going to sign the guy. And we don't know that we're going to sign the guy. So we need to talk about what has actually been said. So Leeds United have reportedly added our interest to the conversation. It's a spot in which he is very clearly set for a move at some point. So over the past decent while, he's been linked with various clubs, and there was a story in December that said he would have an interest in a move to Leeds, which is a very good story to get out, especially when it's ahead of actually learning that we have an interest in the guy. That's sort of very, very helpful. There have been several other clubs mentioned as being interested, so as much as it's fun to come into this and say that Leeds are going to sign a guy, Leeds are going to register their interest in and make a potential move for a guy. That's the bit that needs covering off. Because the clubs that also have an interest or had an interest and have scouted him are on the scary side. RB Leipzig have a very, very solid interest, reportedly, and are sort of checking into how much it will cost them to get a move done. Other clubs that are, throughout the recent while, been believed to want a move include some big old names. Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal, Brentford, Brighton. Now, a lot of people would see this as big and spooky and scary, which is understandable because you look at those and you think, if this is a bidding war, this isn't going to work out for us. For me, it makes me feel a little bit good because Brentford and Brighton are so widely renowned for being incredibly good at spotting talent before other sides do, as has been mentioned by Andy here. Not here, here. Brighton spot potential in players years before others, and if we are able to hop onto this at the same time, it shows good signs for our scouting team and for this specific player. It says to me there's a pretty damn good chance that we've picked out an absolute gem here, and at the moment we are the only ones with active stories linking us to him, which is, again, a step in the positive direction. It says to us, you know what, we might be the only ones investing ourselves in it, and that really rubs off on a player because they go, what clubs want me? Okay, these have actually stayed in the discussion. Let's potentially lean in that direction. So, the question is, how much would it roughly cost? And it's set to be likely in the £5 to £5.5 million sort of region. It converts into euros as something like 7 million. But it would be a very, very good deal for us, I feel. And there are some question marks on timing, like Danny has just mentioned in the chat. I'll hop into that in a little bit more detail later on, just because I think that's better for the sort of open questions-y, corner-y bit where we have a little bit more of a chat about it. But there is further chat to have around how he plays, because it's all well and good signing a player for a left-back position, but they might be the sort of left-back that is an incredibly sort of slow, bland, drooping kind of guy who doesn't do the attacking stuff. That's not who this guy is. Previously, he has done a lot of work as a box-to-box midfielder before shifting into primarily doing that left-back stuff. I've done my research on this one. I've read like a long scouting report on the guy, which it took a while, I'll be completely honest with you, but it was worth it because it's very, very interesting. And his time in a box-to-box midfieldy role was really, really promising because it showed that he's very good on the ball, and I don't want to do whip ball, way out ball, but playing against possession as well. So when he was playing in midfield, he was put down as sort of more a box-to-box 8 in possession, but a defensive 6 out of possession, which is the good sort of player to have if you're converting into a left-back. In addition to that, he's reported to have incredibly strong short to mid-range passing, and he carries the ball really effectively. So this sort of adds up to me. And he was additionally said to sort of have an absolute killer of a through ball on him. Like, his passing percentage in the final third was something like 74%, but the thing was, the majority of the time, that was, I will find a ball into the final third and it will work really well for me. That's why last season he got himself 8 assists, which is not bad in the slightest. He's only had 1 this season, but that's because that has featured his shift to left back and his side have been a little bit more on the back foot from time to time. In terms of contract duration, he's got 2 years left, which falls into that category of they kind of got to sell this summer if they want to get any value out of him, which is really promising for us. And I think everything that we've learned about this guy says that he fits really strongly into that Junior Firpo mold. It fits strongly into the mold of attacking wingback that can do the defensive work when it comes to it. Because previously we looked at him and went, Junior Firpo doesn't really do the defensive stuff. Well, no, now he's been actually properly coached and he's had a decent, consistent run of games and he's been fit and healthy. He can do the defensive stuff. And it works really well for him. And I feel like this is a very, very good replacement player for that. Danny has asked a minute ago, by the way, in the chat, whether he's right-footed. He is a left-footed player, which is very, very nice. And yeah, it's just good. And he's reliable, not very consistently injured because he's had 100% of available minutes this season so far, which you absolutely love to see in a prospective player because, wow, that just shows that they've got the consistency that you need and they're going to show up. And that's precisely what we need. I'm going to have a look at who else his agency has signed as well. Who else is at his agency? Is it anyone that we've had an interest in? No. The agency is completely unrelated to us. It's all Swedish players, which is kind of impressive. I kind of respect that. It's all young Swedes, which is really nice. But the question has to become, is a move likely? And for me, I genuinely think there is nothing that says a move cannot happen here. I do agree that there is potential that it'd be a sort of wait until we're in the Premier League signing more likely, purely because, you know, we've currently still got Junior Firpo. So it could be a case of we sign him, but we say, okay, he comes in the summer and we're sorted. He can still play for you for the rest of the season because he's played 100% of minutes and you kind of want him. But at the same time, we get our bit of the rest of the time with Junior Firpo. At left back, we've got, I think, enough depth-ish to make sure that we're comfortable there. So I wouldn't hugely rush into this signing. I wouldn't mind it, but it just feels like one of those that you don't like hugely jump in at as fast as possible. But as always, that's just what I think. I kind of want to know what you guys think in the chat, in the comments down below, if you are watching after the fact. And that'd be good, and we can have a little bit of a discussion about it and work out where we're going. I wonder what Tanaka's worth on the open market. That is a very, very good question, right? Because I don't understand how we were able to sign him for so little. And I don't understand why he's still only down as being worth 4 million euros, because he is a vastly better player than that. 26, sure, not the youngest of footballers. He's still like 7 months younger than I am. And I'm not an old dude. I hope, I think. consistently a Japan international, one of the best midfielders in the championship. Very, very hard to argue against Tanaka being worth more money. So it's really hard to say, I think. Why have Melia's errors been passed over? They haven't for me, but it's a case of we can't make the decision for him to not start, so sod it. You might as well roll with it. You keep spelling that wrong, and I don't know if it's on purpose, but if it is on purpose, it's quite a horrible thing to do to a prospective signing. Let's behave. Let's be nice to people. That's the vibe of this channel. Always has been, always will be. As is liking the stream. Thank you very much. In the Norwegian broadcast of the game between Bodo and... Is it Bodo or Bodo? Or Bodo? I don't know. Let me know how to pronounce that, because I love knowing how to pronounce things. The commentator said the Tel Aviv striker is linked with Leeds. Is it the same Israel striker Leeds were linked with a few weeks ago? I will have a look at who was playing for Tel Aviv. It'll be Maccabi, won't it? Versus Bodo. If it's just Bodo, then that's fine. Oh, they're currently playing. I didn't know that. Yes, their number 9, Dor Turgerman, is the same guy. And it is spelled like this for future reference. There we go. Yeah, same guy. I don't know how he played. How did he play? I'm kind of interested. Boda. Okay, cool. Thank you very much. It's good to know. But Tel Aviv got seemingly absolutely pumped despite going 1-0 up, which is sort of a shame for them, but at the same time, kind of funny, because I'm not that invested in them. Word of warning, YouTube is doing that thing where it tells me to run an ad every like 18-20 minutes or so. I'm going to press the run ad button, but the way to deal with it is just click on it, swipe right back, and it'll bring you right back to the stream. It saves you time. The only problem that it causes is the advertiser has to pay a little bit more money. And honestly, I think it's funny that they have to do that. So yeah, I'm going to boot the button now, but just a word of warning, I don't like it to sort of like sneak up on people. It feels a bit wrong. So let's insert that there. Yeah, same guy, but the thing is, those conversations have gone a bit quiet, which is a little bit weird to me. Like, I don't know why the Turgerman chat has not happened anymore. Life insurance again, they must have my number. I mean, they're out for you. There's nothing more you can do. They're going to hunt you down. The latest major updates on that were a month ago. Oh, never mind. Yeah, that doesn't look like that is going to be the move. I'm just going to edit the stream title, actually. Moves coming soon. Leeds United, ideal for international stuff. That'll do. Yeah, he specifically said, if I give it a little bit of a read, he reportedly had reservations about moving to America. He's far more receptive to offers from Spain, with La Liga being his first choice destination, with 2 as yet unnamed Spanish clubs courting him. And that would make it a little bit tougher for us to make that signing, purely because if he wants to move to Spain, we're not in Spain. Which I would call a little bit of a problem that we can't fix. If we are not in Spain right now, I would think that we're not going to be in Spain for the foreseeable future unless we have a big military hoo-ha, which I think is beyond my scope and realm of conversation. Who is the left back? The left back is, let's find the banner, Daniel Svensson, who is a Swedish left back currently playing in Denmark for Nordsjælland. He plays as a left back, but has previously played as a left midfielder in a more advanced role, as a centre back, as a central midfielder, both in an 8 and a 6 role. So someone that's very flexible and very good is the nicest way that I can put that without sort of over-egging it. Seems like someone that would be a very, very strong signing, but also potentially feels like someone that we would wait to sign until the summer window. I would hope it's soon, but we'll have to find out. Thoughts on Tom Cleverley set to be sacked by Watford? That is a little bit of a surprise. I'll have a look. Flash score, let's have a look at the Champo. How have they been doing? Currently sat in 8th. It's not great form. They've only beaten Watford recently. Not Watford, they've only beaten Derby recently, sorry. It's the kind of form where it's not super great, is it? In the last 7 matches, they've won once. They're on the slide at the minute, so I can understand it, but I'd still give a little bit more time to see if he can turn it around a bit, rather than just saying, yeah, just get out. Because I feel like that would be a little bit trigger happy for me, especially since in the last 3 matches there was a loss to Preston that was fairly narrow, beating Derby, draw with Cardiff. Admittedly, draw with Cardiff, not good, but the match before that in the league was against Sheffield United, where it was a 2-1 loss. So it feels early, but then again, that's what Watford do. They sack people at the wrong times because they're lunatics. Joe, I personally think the players that come in, we won't have any links to. They'll come out the blue like Ampadu did. Yeah, maybe. That's a potential shout. I can see that happening. The problem with that is there's always a little sort of underlying what if situation, because we found out in the Angus Kinnear interview with the Square Ball that some of the players that we were linked with publicly were players that we had asked the question about, but didn't end up signing. So, like a Hamer, the only way that we could get in the room and have a conversation there and see what would your price be was to chuck out a bid. So it'll be stuff like that at the minute. There might be players lined up that are definitely happening. Like we knew that Glenn Kamara was coming for about 3 weeks before Glenn Kamara landed in Leeds. Not landed because it was from Glasgow, but before he ended up in Leeds. So I think there's a good chance that it could be players that are currently being discussed, but it's always hard to say with this ownership because they're really efficient. Let's have a quick look. It's what we need, but we'll miss out. I think we'll be okay. We say miss out as per usual. Look at the summer window. We got basically everything that we needed. Daniel Farke asked, can we have 5 or 6? We got 5 or 6. And then we got to where we are now. Surprisingly, most fans happy with Farke's press today. Pertinent questions answered, only negative was audio was involved. Yeah, he answered all the questions. He set out what he expects, which to me is very positive. Because if you've got a manager saying, we'll have a conversation about why I think we need a number 9, we'll have a conversation about why I think we need a 10, we'll have a conversation about why I think we need a centre-back/full-back. That's setting out to me that they're also having those conversations behind the scenes, because you don't have that conversation first to the press, because that is suicide from a PR perspective. But that shows that we're heading in the right direction, and there were genuine, proper, good, honest answers to everything. There was also the Strauch bit. Let's have a quick look. He's already doing individual training outside, which is good because typically you do physio gym stuff, then you get outside, then you do the team training. You could be team training within the next week. And as we've learned when it comes to players under Daniel Farke recovering from injury, if you are fit enough to do team training, you are fit enough to play. And that shows that we're making way quicker progress on Pascal Strauch than we expected. So that injury is far nicer to deal with than we thought. Just outside the playoffs, apparently they've lined a replacement up. They have to have lined up a hell of a replacement for that to be worth it for me. Joe, hand on heart, have you ever been tempted to start your own transfer rumours? Okay. This is a weird one, right? Yes-ish, but not for bad reasons. The reasons that I've been tempted to do transfer rumours in the past is there's a little sneaky inkling of me that knows that whilst the sort of major journalistic establishments and stuff wouldn't go for it, so you wouldn't get The Athletic, you wouldn't get the YEP and stuff going for whatever rumour was attempted to be built up. I'm absolutely convinced that if we were in a situation in which 5 or 6 fairly reliable Leeds YouTubers were to say, there's interest in this player from this club, and you pick out someone that is genuinely feasible, that is like in a position that we need, I am 100% convinced that if a bunch of us got together and did that on the same day and dropped streams and videos and everything along those lines and tweeted about it, all the sort of clickbait places that just jump on any rumors they see will jump on it like that, which would be incredible. And I really want to see if it works. The only issue with that, right, is you'd need to sort of prepare it quietly behind the scenes, and you'd need to sort of discuss it with everyone. And you wouldn't be able to tell everyone that it was a made-up rumor until several days later, because that would kill how reliable it is. Because if you've got some examples, if you've got me doing it, if you've got Joe doing it, if you've got Joe doing it, if you've got only Leeds Bros doing it, if you've got Connor doing it, then the trick is you'd need a way to get evidence that it was planned before doing it. Because otherwise everyone's going to go, no, it's not. You're making up that you made that up. And that's where it gets a little bit tricky. I do genuinely think everyone will fall for that. With ease. If we Burnley won't sign anyone, I disagree with that. The specific word for word of what Daniel Farke said was that the Pascal recovery doesn't mean we'll fall asleep, and that this is exactly what we will do in the upcoming days when it comes to looking at players that actively improve the squad. And he also specifically noted that we need a creative attacking player that isn't quite in the exact same vein as Brendan Aronson, which is really good, which is absolutely lovely. And that tells me that it does not matter what happens against Burnley, because that's still 4 days away, 5 days away. We'll still be doing stuff. It's not like we'll have a move lined up to be announced on Tuesday, and then we beat Burnley 1-0, and then suddenly we're like, actually, you know what? Let's not do that, because that would just be a bad idea, I think. I do think it'd work. Yeah, this is why I'm kind of tempted by it. I'm kind of like, oh, let's do the thing. Let's be a bit cheeky. Let's get a bit naughty up in it. Also, I'm gonna set up a thing because I have a challenge for you guys, right? Oh, you absolute bastards. Okay, right. I think the board will. I don't think so. I think they'll still be having conversations with players that they want to sign right now, and I don't think those conversations stop just because we beat Burnley. I think that would be a mistake, and I think when you make transfers, it's a hell of a lot of it is long-term planning, right? And I don't think you make such a short-term decision of cancel a move just because you beat Burnley in a match. I don't think we make a decision that daft. I do agree that they've overpaid for Tom Cannon. Let's have a quick look. What were his numbers so far this season? Because he had a decent number of goals. Yeah, 22 matches, 9 goals. Cool, that's nice. At the same time, £10 million? It's a hell of a lot of money. Keep in mind, we paid 7, 8 for Largy. 3.5 for Tanaka. I would rather have Ramazani and Tanaka than Tom Cannon. And I feel like Sheffield United are in that spot where they know that they came down and were immediately hit with a financial fair play penalty because their finances are knacked. They know that the way to unknack it is Premier League football, and they know that what feels like the only way for them to unknack it is by getting promoted as soon as possible, and that just means shit, transfer fees, get the players in. Which I understand, that's fair. But I think that causes more long-term financial damage than it does fixing things, because if they don't go up, if they get pipped at the post by Burnley or Sunderland, problems. Pretty big problems. And it's problems they'll be causing themselves. You see, that's already been a rumour, though. You want someone completely new, Someone that hasn't been rumoured to be linked, but if you looked at it, would be like, that makes sense. It's like, I'm trying to think of an equivalent. What is a good equivalent? It's like if you were to, out of nowhere, say Burnley have been linked with Ben Davis for a loan. That one would make sense because Burnley are a hyper-defensive side. Ben Davis is born in Wales, would know Connor Roberts, and it just sort of adds up. There's a way that you can build a narrative there, but you'd need to have a completely new one, I think. I don't know about 3. I can feel 2. 2 feels about right. I'm unsure on the third. Cannon not good enough. This is another worry, right? You've paid £10 million for a player that isn't good enough to get into the Leicester side. Leicester are 19th, I think. Are they still 19th? I know they're down there. Yeah, Leicester currently 19th in the league, scoring very slightly more than 1 goal per game. And Tom Cannon isn't good enough to break into that side. But your decision is we'll spend 10 million quid and hope that he's good enough in the Premier League when we get there? It's a weird one. This is a good one. Like, I don't know if this is real or this is fake, but it's one of those that you look at and you go, that makes sense. Like, if Stan Byron were to end his time at Leeds and then, say, sign for... I'm going to have a look at the various league tables to get a good idea. Give me 1 second. And then sign for Barnsley. Well, that makes sense because it's still in Yorkshire. Yes, it's a step down, but it means that it's going to be a little bit better for him. It works out. It's one of those rumours that you can just chuck together and you're like, oh, I can sort of see that. And then like your third-party reader will look at it and go, I believe it, because they've got no reason to not believe it by that point. That's the sort of stuff that you could just make up. And I kind of want to get together with a bunch of people to do that, but it would take such a long time to organise. Tom Cannon, Jadon Anthony in the Prem. I know, that'd be unstoppable. Please, Sheffield United, don't do that. I'd be so scared. No, you'd break the league with how good your team would be. No. They would get absolutely pumped. Week in, week out. Is Jadon Anthony only there on loan, or is he signed permanently? And have they signed Brereton Diaz for like £7 million, or did I read that wrong? Okay, he's on loan from Bournemouth still. You'd imagine he'd have to find an actual club. It's an application on promotion. Oh no. Remember when everyone was like, we need players in, let's get Jadon back. And we're like, no, we'll just do Ramazani instead. And then they ended up with Jadon Anthony with 2 goals and 3 assists and an obligation to buy him upon promotion. It's not the best. But yeah. Yeah, let's have a look at the Brereton Diaz move. Because again, everyone's saying like they're doing some business. They're cooking. I don't know. No, he's on loan there from Southampton. So unless it's loan with an obligation. Right, what are Brereton Diaz's numbers looking like? Because that's worthy of a dive into, I think. I love that he just decided he was from Chile as well. It was like, cool, I've played for Blackburn all my life, but I kind of want to not do that anymore. And he was like, I'm Chilean now. I guess I'm playing international football. Oh, it does a bit. It does a bit, yeah. Oh, I thought that was one of the fake, like, dots been put together. That's a weird one. They did sign a left back, didn't they? Or a right back? I don't know, but did he give away a penalty? Yeah, I think he gave away a penalty against Sheffield United. It was one of the James Trafford does some bullshit moments. Are we expecting another don't go to bed just yet on the 3rd of February? I don't know. There's a little bit of me that is sad because on the 3rd of February, I've got 7 aside from 8:30 till 9:30. And I need to be there at 7 because a bunch of people that I go with are getting there at 7. So I don't know if I'll be able to do my long deadline day stream this time out. I'd like to, and I might do it afterwards, but hard to say. We'll sign players if they're an upgrade on what we have. Not worried if we aren't signing. We aren't signing anyone with a team we'd have, but certain position would be good. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like, I want us to be looking for players that are clear improvements because if they're not going to get in the side because you end up with the Connor Roberts problem of your original players are playing too well for the new ones to come in, and then you get into this weird sort of mess. Ow. Last hour if we get anyone. I don't think so. I think maybe one on deadline day, but I think we do at least one deal before that. I feel okay in guessing that is going to be the case. I'm not too spooked. But I'm not going to finish up just yet. But I do have a little suggestion, a little question, a little query, a little favor to ask. Because you guys are fantastic. You guys know that. You guys know I love you. So, in order to celebrate that, I have done a YouTube short. I do not do many YouTube shorts. I do not enjoy doing YouTube shorts. But this is different. This is a YouTube short that will be a look into my past, a look into a previous version of Joe Blackburn, a version of Joe Blackburn at the age of 11. Which I admit, a lot of you will be like, that's weird. No, no, no. This is one of my more embarrassing moments. This is, I would argue, my most embarrassing moment that I still have on some form of film. And I've put it into a YouTube short, and I'm hoping that you guys have some level of interest in it. But I've made myself a deal. I will publish said YouTube short in the event that only Leeds Bros hit 1,000 subscribers. It is. It is. With footage. Solomon indeed. And they need 13 subscribers. And there's 62 people here. And I know that you guys can manage that. Come on. So if there's 13 of you that aren't subscribed to only Leeds Bros yet, now is the time to do it. And I will, without hesitation, screen share this YouTube short. SHORT. You've seen it anyway. You've not seen the YouTube short, which I put a lot of time and effort into. Thank you very much, Danny. But I will screen share it and I will show it right now if they are able to get there. And I'm really, really hopeful because they are fantastic guys. And they just got to get across the line, you know? And if they are able to do so, then you guys will have a special little bit of early access because I'll show it now and then I will publish it in like an hour or so. But that's up to you guys. We've had a bunch of subscribers. Thank you very much, guys. But it's just. I think they're at 1,000 shows. They're not. I've just refreshed it. They're at 993. Don't you do this. I'm keeping an eye on you, Blazeray. Let's not. Oh, no lying to me now. That's not going to work out for you, is it? But yeah, the moment they hit that, then I will do the screen share, and I will prove that it exists as well. I will. This is like a hostage situation where I'm like, no, look, it exists. There we go. Boom. The hostage is alive. You guys just need to give me the incentive to release the hostage. Because then it'll be fine. 996. I know, but that's not 1,000 yet, Blaze Ray. You can't malarkey me here. Solomon, Solomon, Solomon. Solomon, 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 indeed. Now, I can't read Hebrew, but I know that your name is Hebrew, and I understand. Yes, they do live near Joe. In the same... I'm not going to go into any further detail, just because it's their privacy and stuff. But, yeah. They do live nearby, is the way that I'm going to put that. They are currently just 5 subscribers away, which is very nice. And it's pushing them in the right direction. But yeah, are there any other major bits of news and stuff that have popped out recently? Just that I can take a quick deep dive into. I wonder why Irish streamers never talk about Irish football. Because it just doesn't... It's not worth it. Just absolutely not worth it. Because the level is not great. It's a little bit flat. It's not stunning. Pyrrhus still looks younger than you. No, this is... Yeah, dickhead. This isn't me at 11. You know that. Can't people want to watch Rangers Beats Come? This isn't on me. This is me waiting for the people. Although I do want to watch Rangers beat Scum. I want to watch anyone beat Scum, to be fair. But we're 5 away. It'll be fine. You know what I'll do? I will show it, and then I will wait until we hit 1,000 before actually publishing it. So you can see it once, but only once. Does that sound good? Sounds good to me. Enjoy.
What is the nerdiest thing you've ever done?
So when I was in year 7 or grade 6 is the American equivalent, an English teacher sort of slightly guilted me into doing a spelling bee. I was quite good at spelling things, so we won the school-wide spelling bee. But little 11-year-old me thought this was a school-wide competition. It was not a school-wide competition. Instead, there was a local first round immediately following that, and then a regional semi-final, which we won, which left a national final. So I went from doing a casual school spelling bee for one of my favourite teachers to being in a national final and somehow accidentally coming 7th place. And that's not even the best part. So any big fans of British pop from the 90s will know this guy. Mysterious girl. Thanks for the introduction, Peter Andre. For some reason, he did a spelling bee on his Channel 4 TV show, but they wanted to appear relatable, so they picked the one working class school that was remaining in the competition. And that's where I come in.
Is it Joseph next?
It is Joseph.
Joseph, can you spell nincompoop? Serious?
Nincompoop.
This kid is good. He's very good. Joseph's good.
Cheers, Peter. Not so bad yourself. Shout out Peter Andre for being a formative, traumatic memory of me as a child. What a guy. What a guy. Where am I from originally? From Blackpool. I moved there from Leeds, which is why in that little clip I was very, very Yorkshire. But that got rather bullied out of me, which is fun. A little bit of trauma. But yeah, it's fine. No way, bro, with Peter Andre. Right, okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do 2 truths, 1 lie. And I want you guys to try and guess. And then I will finish in a few minutes. Three things. 1. I have performed in the O2 Arena. 2. FIFA streamer Danny Aarons, with 950,000 followers, owes me £200. 3. What was the third one that I was planning on doing? 3. I have watched Would I Lie to You being recorded live. Which of those is not true? Is it performing in the O2 Arena? Is it Danny Aarons owes me 200 quid? Is it I watched a live recording of Would I Lie to You? One of those isn't true. I kind of want to know which direction you all go. You'd be correct. It's the would I lie to you one that isn't true. That would be because it was an episode of QI. Because in the studio on the day of the spelling bee stuff, in a different bit, they were doing an episode of QI, so we were just watching that on one of the monitors, which was nice. I mean, I wasn't in the studio watching it, but there was a little dressing room thing, and we sat in there and we just watched an episode of QI that was yet to come out, and it was really fun. Really enjoyed it. Who's Danny Aarons? A Twitch streamer and YouTuber turned boxer / Misfits boxer. Why does Danny Aarons owe you £200? That is for the next YouTube short. That one I also have footage of. But is not for right now. I will tell you off stream what that one is, because that's a weird one. No, not FIFA. I'll explain. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the stream to a close there, because it's been a good time. What is going to happen is it's going to redirect you over to Only Leeds Bros. What did you perform at the O2 Arena? It was, this is nerdy, for the... Should that be a YouTube shot? No. It was for the 100th anniversary of Scouting in the UK. And they did a big performance dancey thing, and they needed a bunch of Cub Scouts from all over the country. And I was one of them. I got to dance around with one of the big parachutes things that looked like a scouting badge. Oh, it was great. It was great fun. But that's a deeper story for another time. But what I'm going to do, going to end there. It's going to redirect you over to Only Leeds Bros, who are going streaming in an hour's time. They were meant to be streaming now, but it's also the final word over on Joe Wainman's channel. I'd recommend you go and watch the final word, but I'm going to redirect you to Only Leeds Bros, so you go and subscribe to those to get them over that 1,000 this evening. That would be fantastic. Either way, hope you enjoyed. I will see you later. Toodaloo.